Oh, nice and hot coming into that oven. Keep it open.
Look at this. Yes.
Nice.
Back in. This one. See how it is. Oh, this is a little bit funny.
Well done, no, it's nice.
I don't know what happened, but I didn't. Oh, nice. Oh, achoo.
To learn, to connect. At Viking, we believe travel should be.
Oh, すごい。Oh.
This is, oh, let me smell it. Oh, it smells good. No longer cheesy. And this one is amazing. This is Ruban from France. Still alive.
Three stories that house. It's enormous, isn't it? That is great, yes. Sorry? Ooh, please, yeah. Go for it. Thank you. Hey?